Hi, and welcome to Charlestown and Beyond, our premier program, premier show. And I'm going to get right into it tonight and introduce our guest. I want to welcome Mayor Marty Walsh.
It's great to be here.
It's so great to have you
I feel like
here.
I was on here for the last show at Charlestown
You
Live,
were.
and now I think you said Mayor Menino was your first guest on that show, and I'm the
Yep.
first guest on this show.
Yes, and I hope to be on for many years and have you
Well, I will
remain
be
as
with
mayor. You know, I had no intention of coming back. I really didn't, but it just happened.
On
so.
popular demand, you were missed.
Yeah, is that what it
The
is?
ratings were so good that people wanted you back.
Well, I'm really thrilled to be here. I really
Well, it's
am.
important. I mean, you get your message out to the
Yeah.
community. I know people at home watch the show, and they watch it faithfully, and they want to hear what's going on in their different neighborhoods. And it's important that as many neighborhoods can be represented here, that we do that.
That's right, that's right. And this is going to be a little different. It's going to relate to Charlestown, of course. That's where my heart is. But it's also going to have guests on that will be talking about topics that are of interest to the entire city,
Yeah.
such as the police commissioner and the sheriff of Suffolk County and the fire commissioner, that will all talk about safety issues and
It's good because
things-
people watch. I mean, obviously, it's more than just Charlestown folks that
Right,
watch it, and,
right.
and I think if you get good topics on and good people on, you can talk about a whole bunch of different issues. And
Right.
we're heading into the presidential election, so there'll be ballot questions, and there'll be all
I'm not
kinds.
going to have Donald Trump on this show.
No,
No,
you might want to come on. You never know.
Yeah, right, yeah, okay. Let's get started because we
Yes.
don't have all that long. Now, a lot of great initiatives have come along since you've taken office 21 months ago, imagine.
Yeah,
Can I ask you about some of the newer ones?
absolutely. I love it.
Okay, there's going to be a new police cadet program coming up.
Yeah, we reinstituted the police cadet program in the city. We had it in 2009 was the last time that it was in effect, and it really gives young people the opportunity to get on the police department. Anyone between the ages of 18 and 24 can apply by November 1st. Get your information in. You can contact either the police department or we have a webpage, cityofboston.jobs. And I think that that's an important one. It's another opportunity to get on the police department. We have Commissioner Evans was a cadet. Chief Willie Gross was a cadet. So a lot of folks that are in the hierarchy of the police department came on as a cadet. Really, the cadet program, it gives, I think in some ways, it gives young people the opportunity to have an advantage over people that go through the civil service test, because they're going to be out in the street for a couple of years doing police work, no gun, but they're going to have a badge, they're going to have things like that. But it really gets them engaged in the community, and I think it's going to help us with our relationships and our community policing, in having these young people working now in the streets as cadets and learning the process. They're going to make good police officers, so we're excited about it.
That's great. Now, when do they have to apply by? Is there a deadline?
By November 1st.
Oh, okay.
So they start now and it goes to November 1st, and it's going to be in all the local papers, and it's going to be, go on the city webpage, but make sure it's between the ages of 18 and 24. And what happens is that there's a deadline age-wise, so we've already gotten a call, somebody just turned 25, and unfortunately they're not eligible, so we have to, you have to be within those ages.
Okay, very good. I read a press release you had out, and I didn't even know that this office existed. The Office of Food Initiatives, and you just assigned a new director.
Yeah, we just brought a new director on, Tasha Baker, who came on. She has experience working in different areas of food, and the last opportunity she worked in was in the WIC office. So she understands getting food delivered to people, and really is about initiative about promoting good food, working with the farmers markets and the urban gardens in the city of Boston, and making sure that all neighborhoods have opportunity to fresh foods. And in Charlestown, you've had supermarkets for a while, so they have the food there. But other neighborhoods, you don't have supermarkets, and they're the fast food, and so it really is an office that really promotes food. It's been in existence in Boston probably for 5 or 6 years. We had a vacancy; the director left, so now we brought in a new person. So we're excited about that. And when we look at city government, it's not just about plowing streets and cutting trees back and maintaining parks and roadways. It's also about different initiatives. And we have a lot of different offices in City Hall. We have an Office of New Bostonians. We have the Women's Advancement Office. We have the Veterans Office, and we have the Food Initiative.
It's great.
Yeah, so we're excited about it, and we're doing some good things. And Boston really has been focused on, in America really, as far as an urban area, bringing back a lot of urban gardening. And
That's great.
I know that in Charlestown and many neighborhoods, people have their gardens in their backyard.
Yep.
They don't have a lot of land, but they still they have gardens back there, and they grow vegetables. So
That's right.
we're going to continue to produce that.
Eat healthy.
Absolutely.
I was really excited. I've always been promoting women and the advancement of women. And when it was announced this week that you're doing workshops for women, It's free salary negotiation workshops.
Yeah.
I could have used that 30 years ago.
You know, and it was a great kickoff. And really, what it's about having women being able to understand how do they negotiate their salary. And I think that when you look, we've been talking about this now for a while in this country, in this city. And last year, we really kicked off some initiatives to look at equal pay for women, and also look at getting women in positions of power on boards and things like that. And this workshop is actually a great idea to bring women to the table, to sit down and talk about how do they negotiate a salary. And I think some people get intimidated. They get a job, they don't want to negotiate. Men often will say, well, I'm looking for more money. They'll get more money. And it's really about leveling the playing field here. And we launched it this week, actually earlier this week, and we're going to have these workshops. And if anyone who's interested, I would suggest any woman to come in and sit in these workshops and take part in it. Contact the Office of Women's Advancement in the City of Boston. Ask for Megan Costello, and we'll get you signed up for a class. We have some great partners here in the city that's helping us with this program. And we have the Women's Council that's involved. So there's a lot of good stuff happening in that office. But this one, I think, is one of those that really helps leveling the playing field as far as when it comes to salary.
I know years ago I trained a man, he came on new in the job, and he ended up making more money than me when we were doing the same job. And I asked why, and they said, well, he's got a family. At that point, I had a family and a child.
Yeah.
But because he was a man, so.
And it's still that way today in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And I think, we have to work better. We did an assessment of City Hall, our own pay equity, to make sure it's fair. And we came back with a report that's kind of hard that showed us there wasn't a lot of pay equity in some places. Where there's unionized employees, everyone gets paid the rate where you're supposed to be paid. But with the non-union employees, not covered by collective bargaining, we're looking and making adjustments. And I think that we're going to continue to make those. And we have to, if we're going to talk about it, we have to set the standard very high.
Right, that's fantastic. Thank you,
Oh, you're
man,
welcome.
personally. Okay, I got some Charlestown-related questions.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay. How's the street cleaning pilot program going in Charlestown?
It seems to be going pretty well. I mean, I haven't heard a lot of complaints. I know now Tom McKay might come back and say I'm getting a lot of complaints, but I think that it's worth exploring, and we're going to evaluate it pretty soon, and we'll look at expanding it around the city. I think that we got in some controversy a couple weeks ago when I didn't propose a $7 meter increase. It was, but we're looking at the different fees and structures, and really it's about traffic, not so much the street cleaning. Street cleaning is more about not towing cars and making sure people move. But we're looking at all the different ways we do transportation in the city, and what we talked about at the Chamber of Commerce speech, which gained me headlines saying I raised the meters to $7. We talked about in certain areas of Boston at certain times where there are meters, possibly raising it a bit. What it does, it cuts down on people circling the block looking for a spot. And it's been proven in San Francisco to work in reducing traffic. And as you know, we're going to talk, I'm sure I'm going to talk about the favorite road and circle, the square in a little while.
That's next.
You're talking about traffic is tough, and traffic seems to be getting worse in Boston. And even on my way over to the studio today, from City Hall to here, it was a 40-minute ride because of traffic. And we have to try and figure out new ways of trying to reduce traffic. I think that that's important. And also, we have to invest in roadways, and I'll bring it up. Sullivan Square, Rutherford Ave, a lot of buzz floating around about that. We have a North Point development over in Cambridge, which is putting a lot of cars on it. We have Assembly Square project, which is going to put a lot of cars on it. Potentially a casino in Everett, going to put a lot of cars on it. There's been a lot of plans floating around. The city did a plan in 1997, which I believe was a surface option with 2 roads in and out. Those 3 developments weren't figured into this number at the time. So we're working, because of the lawsuits, we're working with the state on the plan. It was a group that was put together with the Transportation Secretary to talk about coming up with solutions. And I had a meeting with the WIN folks a week ago to talk about, we put ground rules down. The ground rules were we're going to talk about traffic and congestion first. There is 2 lawsuits going on. We said we're not going to talk about those at that particular moment, but I think regardless of what happens, we have to have some real conversation and come up with some solutions on how to fix Sullivan Square. What's going to have to happen at the end of the day, regardless of development, what's going to have to happen is there's going to have to be an investment made by the state, significant investment, by the federal government, a significant investment, by some of the developers, an investment as well, because the roadway isn't just for people to drive on it. You're going to a place or coming from a place in the city, obviously. So we're going to be working as we move forward here on trying to come up with some solutions. It's been 20 years in the making. I would love, under my administration, not to be talking about it, but to actually come up with a plan and begin the implementation phase of Sullivan Square, Rutherford Ave. We are going to be doing the bridge. We're going to be doing the bridge over, I believe, in early 2017, North Washington Street Bridge. We have some concern now on the underpass on Rutherford Ave, so we have to figure that out. We have a lot of kids that travel in that area, so there's a lot of things we have to work there. So we have to stop talking about it and come up with some solutions.
What is the status of the design that came out of meetings maybe a year ago? Surface option.
Yeah, it really.
Is that still in?
Well,
or?
it's there right now. That's basically what everyone's kind of looking at, the surface option. But the problem is that when that plan was created over the last 15, 20 years, all of the new traffic is there, and there's, what I'm going to say here. I'm not taking a position on it. What I'm going to say here is that any alteration to that plan or any new plan, I'm going to insist that the community have input in it, because ultimately it's going to affect the community. And I think that, with the additional traffic on there, and there's going to be a change in the plan, we have to make sure the community has say in it. And I've said that all along. Even when the governor's administration temporarily issued the MEPA certificate, my concern is that the plan that was put in, the traffic plan put into that certificate, one of the reasons for the suit was that the plan we felt wasn't adequate enough. And we're going to continue to work. Yes, there is a lawsuit, but we're going to continue to discuss how we come up with a solution.
Mayor, there's a problem to this too, with the community's voice, okay? We have what I call professional meeting goers. And then you have the average person that works 9 to 5 or whatever and has a family at home, they're getting home to dinner and homework and everything, that can't go to a meeting. But it's the voices of one particular group that is always heard, which is unfortunate. I don't know what can be done about that, but it's a problem.
No, we had a planning process called Go Boston 2030, which was a transportation planning process. And over 5,000 people participated in that conversation. We used online media, we used different types of abilities for people to express themselves. And we're talking right now, we're planning out the future of Boston, the Boston 2030, which is a planning process. And we just had a meeting today about how do we make sure we engage everybody. Because a lot of people, even though they work late, they don't go to community meetings.
Right.
They don't get involved. You have seniors that won't go out at night and they can't, and they're not on social media. So we're going to really talk about how do we have civic engagement in the city in a whole different fashion. The system of meetings is important, and the civic association is important. But again, it's 30, 40 people making a decision for an entire community.
That's right.
And sometimes the community doesn't feel that way. So we're through our civic engagement piece of Imagine Boston 2030 and through Go Boston 2030, which is another planning process, we're figuring how do we reach into those homes and get people to be more engaged. I mean, I can go to a community meeting and talk about an issue, and then the next day I can be at a coffee shop in the same exact neighborhood talking about the issue, and the feeling in the coffee shop is different than the feeling at the meeting. And I think to some degree that might have happened with the roadway.
It did.
But again, like I said, I'm not going to jump in the middle of that right now.
No.
But what I am going to do is make sure that the community, the entire community, has say in what's going to happen there.
It's a hard thing to do, Mayor.
But you have to. It's their neighborhood. I'm in Charlestown, once or twice a week. I'm on Rutherford Ave, Sullivan Square, probably once or twice a week. I don't drive it every day. If it was Dorchester Avenue, I'm on Dorchester Avenue every day because I live off Dorchester Avenue. So I think it's important for the community to have say in what they want to do. What might be Hyde Park Ave or Dudley Square. I mean, again, I'm in all those neighborhoods once a week, twice a week. But people live there every single day, or they're literally dozens and dozens of times in the course of a week. They should have some say in how their roads and how their streets should be.
Well, I pledge to you, if you want to get a message out, I would be more than glad to express it here on this Charlestown and Beyond.
No, thank you. And we will, as we get more, I think at some point one of your future guests probably should be Sarah Meyerson from Imagine Boston 2030, so people understand what we're talking about when we talk about a master planning process. The last time we did a master planning process in Boston was 50 years ago. And 50 plus years ago. What came out of that was the downtown skyline and what's happening. Today, life has changed. So the planning process isn't going to be just about design and building of buildings. It's going to be about the environment. It's going to be about public open space. It's going to be about what people envision their neighborhoods to be. So as neighborhoods change, and Charlestown is one of those neighborhoods that changed drastically in the last 25 years, the change won't be as dramatic.
What's with this new BRA urban renewal plan coming back to Charlestown?
Yeah, we have to. Urban renewal is renewed every 10 years. It's by state law. We have to mandate it. They did it about 10 years ago. There was no community meetings, no community process. And we just felt differently that this time we're going to go out and have a community process. Urban renewal gives the city and the BRA some tools to be able to do economic development. There is some concern in the community saying that urban renewal is not needed in their community. Urban renewal was responsible for wiping out neighborhoods in certain parts of the city. That's not what we're using it for this time. What we're using it for is really opportunities to enhance economic development, housing, jobs, and we're going out to communities. I know we're going to Charlestown. I don't know if it's this week or next week.
Yeah, this week you're coming to Charlestown.
So we're going to be in Charlestown. We were in the South End a couple weeks ago, and we're going around the city. And it's a very different. The tools are still important for us.
Well, it's a new BRA too.
It is a new BRA.
With,
You know, we have 3 new board members out of 5. We have a new director. We have a new secretary. We have a new chief of staff. We have a new planner. We have a whole bunch of different people out there. We're talking about transparency, and not that there was anything wrong with the old people that were there, but it really is about transparency. And the BRA does a lot of good stuff.
Yes, they do.
But they only get remembered for the bad stuff.
Of course.
And I think that we're going to continue to change and continue to increase more transparency. And like I said, 10 years ago, there was not what we're doing this time. You know, we could have tried to get it done, but we made a decision very early on. No, we need to have a conversation in every neighborhood about what urban renewal is, how it affects the community, what the benefits are, hear what people feel the shortfalls are of it, and then try and get people to get to a decision point where they might support it.
Well, I remember when urban renewal came into Charlestown to begin with in the 60s.
Yeah.
I was only a young kid, but the devastation that it made in Charlestown, I have to say, Charlestown is a much more beautiful area now than it was. But still, the devastation of people losing their homes and
The West End got wiped out. I mean,
yes, it did.
In certain parts, you know, they wiped it out for a future plan of building a highway, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
In certain neighborhoods, yeah, there was benefits to it, and urban renewal worked. And I think that, you know, if used properly, not to take over neighborhoods. I don't see an instant today in the 21st century, 2015, where we're using urban renewal to wipe out a neighborhood. I don't see it. I mean, there's just no point of it. Boston, every neighborhood in Boston is doing well. I mean, some neighborhoods are doing too well in some cases because people are being pushed out. We're trying to create more housing for that. But when you think of any neighborhood, there's no neighborhood in the city of Boston that somebody comes to me and says, well, I don't want to move there. Everyone in different neighborhoods throughout the city, from Hyde Park to East Boston, from Brighton to you know, Dorchester or whatever the breakdown is, Charlestown, Mattapan, Roxbury.
Right.
I mean, everywhere you go, the people interested in involvement in moving in those areas, and that's a good thing today.
It is a good thing today. It really is. Talk about housing. Do you want to talk about the development of the Bunker Hill development?
Yeah, well, we'll put an RFP out. I think we're choosing somebody this week to move forward. Basically, what's happened is in the developments in the city, in the country, the HUD has dried up money.
Right.
So we're getting less and less money to come into different areas to renovate housing developments. South Boston, the Old Colony Housing Complex, got money from the federal government to redo almost the entire project. Meaning it was a project, the entire development. It's beautiful. You look over there and it's a beautiful facility. We're looking now in the city, how do we upgrade our facilities? I believe Bunker Hill is the oldest.
It is.
And probably
Biggest.
biggest and one in the toughest conditions. So we're looking at how do we get a developer to come in, a private developer to come in, redevelop housing for the folks that live there, but also, in order to do that, create more opportunities for housing, for moderate income housing and higher end housing, and that will help pay for the redevelopment of the development. And you know, I've heard a lot of positives on that because you've heard over the years different concerns about the development and what's happening in development. And what we have to do, as the Boston Housing Authority had to cut back on services, you obviously have greater need for services, and now you have a private entity coming in, doing the work in there, providing the services, and I think that it's going to be a win-win for everyone.
It's going to be fascinating to watch and see how it develops.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating because when I was a candidate for mayor, I mean, I walked around and with your state representative now, Danny Ryan, and Gino Flaherty, your former state rep, we walked around and you know, there was a retrofit there, but the housing stock is old. It's old. It's an old Army barrack style, and you know, you're talking about we're trying
built to last.
You know, we're trying to create new opportunities for kids and new schools, and we want to make sure people have good, nice, clean, safe places to live, and that's what we have to encourage. And if the federal government all of a sudden started giving us money, we'd be able to do it through them, but we're not getting that money.
Okay, big question.
Yes.
What's going on with the city and Wind Casino?
Win Casino and City. But we're still, as I said a little earlier in the show, you know, we had a meeting. I had a meeting. We had a meeting with the Win folks. We talked about the issues that we kept it focused on transportation and really about looking at Sullivan Square, Rutherford Ave. Because at the end of the day, if the casino's built, and all indications appear it's going forward, they need a reliable transit system in and out.
Yes.
As I said earlier, North Point in Cambridge, Sullivan Square, Assembly Square in Somerville need reliable transportation. More importantly for me today, the people of Charlestown need to make sure they have reliable, they can go in and out of Charlestown and access the community.
Because we're also talking about the North Washington Street Bridge at the end of it.
And
in
that's going
Charlestown.
to be being rebuilt by early 2017. I think that's the scheduled date. So we had the conversation. There is a couple of different pending lawsuits going on.
Yes.
The first lawsuit really was focused on and is focused on allowing people that I felt, and that's really towards the Gaming Commission, feeling that the people of Charlestown and the people of Boston weren't given the proper right to have a voice in this. The second suit that was filed the other day is not out of spite. It's about a plan that was submitted to the state that we felt wasn't adequate. And I think the way that we don't resolve the issue, but the way we keep moving the ball down the court, if you will, is by having conversations in and around the roadway. I think that, you know, the first tactic by not sitting down and meeting, I don't know if that was good or bad, but there was a lot of hard feelings on both sides. I think that those conversations have to happen. Yeah. Whether or not people want a casino or not, we have to have those conversations. We're going to have those conversations. We're sitting at the table with the state, and the Secretary of Transportation has a meeting group together. I think we have 6 or 7 representatives from the city on there talking about the roadway, and we're going to look at the plans. I think the casino has a visual concept of a plan. There's one from 97 is an idea of a plan, and other people have different ideas. So we have to come down and get to an agreement on what do we want that road to look like? What's that road ultimately going to be?
Great. You know, we're running out of time here.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. You know, I could go on with you now that I have you captured with questions for the next hour and a half. Do you want to say anything to the city and what's going on? Oh, we have a couple of events
Yes,
you're involved in. This Saturday, if the rain permits.
If we don't have a monsoon, from what they're predicting, we'll have a ribbon cutting at the park.
Yeah, at the Caldwell Street Park.
Yep. And that's something that we've been working on all summer, spring and summer.
So it's going to be 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Monday, October 5th, you're having Mayor.
Mondays with the Mayor.
Mondays with the
at East
Mayor.
Boston High School at 6:15, and that's similar to what we did in Charlestown. We've done it now in several neighborhoods. Everyone's invited to it to basically come and talk about whatever issues they want. We have all the department heads and cabinet chiefs there, so I talk a little bit about the state of the city, and then we open up for questions, and there's no screening of questions, and we ask people to come and ask questions if they want, and there's a lot of different people that they can connect to. I find them. I did them when I was running for mayor. Mondays with Marty, we called it, and we just kept it going because I think it's a way for people to feel connected, and if they want to grab me on an issue or they want to grab somebody else on an issue, we're all going to be there. So that's 6:15 Monday at East Boston High School.
And then you're on October 17th, it's a Saturday, at the Fog Pond.
The Fall Pumpkin Fest at 5:30 to 7:30. I'm doing my cheat sheets here, but it's great. I mean, the kids. We're trying to do more activities for young people in the city, and this has been around for a long time, and people really love it, and kids love to come from all over. So we're bringing kids in town, and Common looks beautiful. We're doing great work in different places. So we want to try and encourage as many people to come in and enjoy and view Boston, and it's your city, so you should take advantage of it.
Beautiful time of the year to do that too.
It is, and right now the weather, other than
Well, we need the
next
rain.
couple of days, but we do need the rain. We're way down. I'd rather the rain than the snow.
There you go. But we enjoyed seeing you too.
Yeah, I was on there an awful
Okay,
lot.
I'm just told to do the wrap up.
Okay,
Mayor, thank you so
Thank you.
very much for being here.
Thank you. This was
Hope
great.
to see you back soon.
I'll be back.
So that's our first show, folks, and it was a thrill to be here, especially with Mayor Marty Walsh. And I'll be on twice a month, not every Thursday, the first and third Thursday of every month at 6:30 p.m. The show will go live because of the mayor's busy schedule. He couldn't come on this week live, so this one is taped. But in the future, the shows will be live, and we hope that you will call in. So for Charlestown and Beyond, welcome, and thank you for joining us, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.